Greetings, students. Before our semester begins, I wanted to send you a greeting because we're in such strange times. Normally, I'd be looking forward to seeing you next week in person, and we'd get to know each other in a sort of normal way. But as you know, these are not normal times. And unfortunately, I have to teach online because of a medical condition I have. But I wanted to tell you a little something about myself before the semester started, and about how we'll do things. And first, well, I'm Dr. Jim Getch. You can call me Dr. G if you want, or Dr. Getch, or Professor Getch. Okay? I've been teaching about 28 years, 25 of them at Eckerd. And I teach philosophy, or the love of wisdom, and you'll be taking a philosophy class with me. Now, the best way to do a philosophy class is in person, where we can talk with each other, look at each other in the eyes, and just be human together. But what I've discovered in this past year is that we can still be human together through this strange technological medium. You have to work harder at it, I think. I've discovered to my surprise that teaching online takes about 2.5 times more effort from me, I've quantified it, than it does teaching in person. It's just harder, and I have to put a whole lot more energy into it. And you will too. But if you do that, we can do something really beautiful here together. We can learn to think together and think about things that are important. In fact, this is a video for both my Eastern philosophy students and my social and political philosophy students. So first, let me talk a little bit about the Eastern philosophy class. We'll start out with the Upanishads, which is what I call time out of mind philosophy, some of the earliest thinking about what it means to be human and about what reality is for human beings. We'll then move into Taoism, and we'll look at the Tao Te Ching and the Zhuangzi, which is one of my very favorite philosophies. I've been reading Zhuangzi and Lao Tzu since I was about 10 years old. We'll then move into the Buddha Dharma, or the philosophy of Buddhism. And we'll look first at the sort of central beliefs of Buddhism, then we'll examine a little Zen philosophy, and then we'll end up with one of my very favorite texts of all time, the Bardo Total, which is usually called the Tibetan Book of the Dead. But as you'll learn, that's not a right name for it. So if you're in that class with me, I'm really looking forward to doing it with you. These are some of my favorite texts and my favorite thoughts to think about. The other class, if you're in that one with me, is social and political philosophy. And in that, we want to think about what it means to live in a society where there's a government, right? Where people are in charge of us. If you think about it, we're surrounded by that. You can't move from point A to point B. You can't have water. You can't have electricity. You can't do anything without some form of government and oversight. And we want to think about that. We want to think about what's most real about government, about being governed, and what a good government might be. And we'll do that by looking back at what people have thought about that, right? We'll look at what Aristotle thought, but before that, we'll begin with considering myth and the mythic dimension, and the struggle between what I'll call the mythic consciousness and the rational consciousness, and striving to come to govern ourselves. We'll also look at classic texts in the history of political philosophy, such as John Locke's Second Treatise on Government, Hobbes' Leviathan, and Rousseau's Discourse on Social Inequality, and the Social Contract. And we'll also study anarchism, one of my favorite philosophies. So I look forward to doing all this with you, and I look forward to doing it with you in this strange medium, in which we'll get to practice philosophy in a different way, but still do it. I just wanted to say hello to you. I'll be sending a lot of information to you through emails and getting more in touch with you, but I wanted to give you this initial welcome to my class and to assure you that I'll be working 2.5 times harder than I usually do to make sure this is a worthwhile experience for me and for you, so that together we can begin to practice philosophy, which is always the love of wisdom. Thank you for your kind attention.